Alrighty, so it looks like I might only have time to do one more episode, but I'm hoping I can get to two, because if I can get to two, that's an entire month. So 1 month, one recording session, not bad. Granted, I still have to edit and do all of that fun stuff, but 1 month, one recording session, not bad. So, welcome to the Principles of Success. Every single time. Welcome to the Principles of Success, episode 3. So, success is a mindset. That's the number one thing that I've learned over the last 7 years of me basically redesigning who I was and redesigning my mind, redesigning everything. So, like I've mentioned before, we already know a lot of this stuff. The question is, why aren't you doing it? And the reason why a lot of different people, a lot of the successful are guessing is it's because of your mindset and your beliefs and how you were raised. That's why so many of them, instead of giving you tactics on do this, do this, do this, talk about things like overcoming self-doubt, stuff like that. Because if you can get this, and I'm pointing to my brain for the audio people, if you can get this to work properly, to work on your behalf instead of against you, then you can take the most basic of strategies and do them, and you'll get results. But you can have the greatest strategy of all time that'll give you the greatest results of all time. Doesn't matter if you don't do it. And you won't do it unless your mindset is in good condition. That's why I encourage listening to motivational videos every single morning, because especially with headphones in, I've noticed that when you have headphones in, it replaces the thoughts in your head, because you can only have one thought going at a time. You can switch back and forth a lot. That's why multitasking doesn't actually work. But you can only have one thought at a time. And if you're listening intently with it in your ears, it kind of replaces the thoughts you're having with that motivational thoughts. That's my guess of why it works so well with headphones in for me, but it's just a guess. I don't know. I don't think there's been any studies on that exact thing. I just know that from my knowledge of the brain and things like that, then that's my guess. That's my hypothesis. So that's why I encourage listening to motivational stuff every single morning. That's why I encourage listening to Tony Robbins and using all the tactics he teaches to reframe your emotions, reframe your mindset, and do a whole lot better in life. It's amazing how much better life is when you think positively, and when you're surrounded by positivity. Another great example of things affecting your mindset is, who do you hang out with? Do you hang out with angry, negative, bitter, mean people? Or do you hang out with no dreams and stuff like that? Or do you hang out with people who have aspirations, have goals, are working towards them, are striving, are pushing you to be better, and I'm hoping you push them to be better as well. So it's mindset. You gotta keep working on that mindset, keep reframing. That's what I think success truly is having a great mindset in life and be enjoying in life, because everything we do in life is for one of two motivations: to get pleasure, or enjoyment, or to avoid pain. So success is a mindset, and it's your responsibility. If you don't take care of it, no one else is going to take care of it. In fact, just by how humans are, most of them are going to drag you down not build you up, because most people are in a terrible, terrible state a lot of the time. Because life is hard. Life is hard, and personally, I believe that it's a war between good and evil, and that Satan is literally attacking your thoughts all the time. He's just bombarding you all the time, trying to make you depressed and miserable like he is. So it's your responsibility. You have to be the one to change. You're the one that's going to have to look yourself in the mirror, figure out a game plan, and execute on it. You also have to be kind to yourself. I've been working at this for 7 years. I am still nowhere near as disciplined as I wish I was. Like, I have a lot to do. And I spent a undisclosed amount of time laying in bed because I was tired. And sleep is important too, but this wasn't because I was sleepy. It was just that I didn't want to do anything. I was feeling lazy. And it happens more frequently than I would like. So, it's your responsibility. You have to deal with it. And it might even be somebody else's fault. It might, like, for instance, I think it was last week, I talked about getting heartbroken and being utterly destroyed. The girl cheated on me, and it really messed me up. It was my responsibility to get into a good state after that. Doesn't matter whose fault it was, but it was my responsibility. So, your responsibility, keep working on it, keep going. And it takes a long time. Don't be too harsh on yourself. You gotta keep working at it. And that's another thing about your mindset. If you need to take responsibility for every aspect in your life. The successful, take responsibility. The happy, take responsibility. The people with great relationships take responsibility upon themselves to make sure those relationships are nurtured and benefited. They don't wait for the other person to be the one that nurtures the relationship. It's nice when they do it, and it's important that they do it. But if that relationship is important to you, you can't wait for them to do it, because what if they never do it? Then this relationship will just slowly stagnate until it becomes toxic. So it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility for finances. This one's a very controversial statement I'm about to do. My mom utterly disagrees with it. I don't even fully agree with it, but this is I'm paraphrasing from something Grant Cardone said. And he talked about how being poor is selfish. Because when you're poor, you can't help anybody. It's your responsibility. This is the part where I agree with. It's your responsibility to become financially abundant so that way you can help other people. I think that just makes you a good person. And so it's your responsibility to take those 5 different categories of success and to do what it takes to push forward. But it's hard. It's so hard. It's hard to take the time to learn the things that you need to learn. It's hard to implement the things that you've learned. It's hard to stay consistent with it. It's hard to want to do it. Like I talked about, I especially didn't want to do recordings today. I wanted to work on my novel today. That's what I wanted to work on, but I needed to work on this. It's hard to be disciplined. It's hard to eat healthy, even though I actually enjoy most healthy foods more than I do unhealthy foods. It's hard to do the things that you know you need to do, but it's worth it. You got to keep going, because life gets so much greater as you keep leveling up. And I'm not even anywhere close to the level that I'm going for. I hope you guys aren't anywhere close to the level you're going for. Unless you're like 90 or something, then I hope you're about where you were hoping to get, because you're out of time at this point. But for people in their 20s like me, or people in their 50s, you still have plenty of time. People in their 50s still probably have 40 to 50 years. People in their 20s have probably another 100 years, if not more, just because of advancements in technology and how health conscious our society is getting. Granted, there's still going to be lots of people who will die at a much younger age, but considering that you're listening to this, I doubt it's going to be you. So, you gotta come out, to be successful, you have to overcome those shortcomings. One of my biggest shortcomings is that I'm naturally super, super lazy. Part of that is because you're lazy when you don't enjoy things. And there's so many things that I don't enjoy, but are important to the things that I've chosen to do. And so I need to do them even if I don't particularly want to, because it's part of the process. Now, Jim Rohn, a great example he talked about, was he wanted to save the $50 for an accountant. He didn't want to pay an accountant. So all the time he's talking about how I need to keep the books, I need to keep the books, I need to keep the books. And then he talks about how he lost so much productivity because he wanted to save the $50, whereas if he had just paid the accountant, he didn't have to worry about being lazy in doing something that he didn't want to do. And he could instead focus his strengths on what he can do. So I'm running out of time. So I'm going to cut this episode a couple minutes short. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week, and it probably might be next week for me as well this time. So have a great week. Good luck, and go be successful.